Hey folks, this is Matt Rainwater, and today we're drawing this character. And I've been trying to figure out, I'm going to name this character, because it's the very first sketch. I was thinking like going more feminine, like Lynn. The idea here is that this character is supposed to be Loretta's familiar. If y'all don't remember Loretta, let me bring her up real quick. So, a familiar for Loretta, right? I was thinking, yeah, this is a sassy cat. This will probably work. Originally, I was thinking, okay, Lynn. It's kind of a pun. If you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But as I was drawing the character, I ended up with a character that I think looks decidedly a little more masculine. And so I'm thinking Lars. I feel like this is a Lars. That being said, I'm going to ink it, and we'll do colors for it probably a different day, and I'll talk with y'all about a different subject. But today, I want to talk about what I always talk about, the creative process, and how zany it is. I say that because, it's funny when I was first starting out this whole stretch of the Talk and Draw series where I was doing all these character designs for the backroads. There was this moment where I was like, I have this. I know what I'm going to do with this story. It's in the bag. And then, I don't know, something came up for me. And I came to this realization, like, you know what? I don't entirely know if this is exactly the route I want to take yet. So I'm just going to focus on developing these characters. And as I develop all these characters and their relationships to each other, let the story grow somewhat organically out of that. I'm still at this moment retaining the backroads as the working title for it. That, like I said previously, that could still change. It's a very annoying phase to be in, because I'll have these moments where I think I have full clarity on where the story's going, what it's going to be, what it's going to be about. And then something pops up in my head that makes me think, well, maybe I'm not ready yet. I just know I have this really good idea for a first story. But maybe it's not going to be the first story. And so I say all this because this is kind of how the development period for Trailer Park Warlock went in a lot of ways. There was a lot of fake outs. There was a lot of like beginning ground material that didn't make it to the cutting room floor on the first go, but then ideas that I cut out would later become ideas for later storylines. And I think for me right now, what makes this process a little bit anxiety inducing is, I don't know why I feel this way, but to a certain extent, I feel like I get kind of one shot. I get one shot to make this story good from the get-go. So I want to make it as good as I can. That being said, having that attitude just further increases stress. And the more stressed you are about something, the harder it is to actually not only focus, but like do the job well. And this has been a running theme in these talk and draw programs, is me talking a little bit about y'all talking with y'all about how to manage stress as a creator, right? I think it's the thing that gets in the way for all of us. A lot of times people who procrastinate because there's something very stressful about the creative process because you have to commit. And so you might spend an hour 30 minutes, whatever. You end up checking Twitter, and you're like, well, maybe I can update all my social media stuff. And you're updating your social media stuff, talking about what you're going to work on, but not actually working on it. And then it's like, well, maybe I'll check the news, or maybe I'll check my emails. That's productive, right? So many things. There's an infinite number of things to check. I'm glad for myself to some extent that I don't have the bug where, like, if I start procrastinating, it's like, oh, well, I'll play some video games. Like, I'm not in that place. Thank God. I used to be. There was a time where I was, and then I quit the habit, um, and pretty much, like, for me, video games I think about as like, this is something I can do when I'm totally done with everything else, or when I'm so tired I can't really think clearly, and I just need something to like chill out with. And also, like, it's funny, as I've gotten older, I actually play video games considerably less. It's a really interesting thing because, like, maybe when I was younger, I played all the video games. Like, I got it out of my system. Like, I just played them so much when I was younger that I got my initial fix. And really, ultimately, nowadays, when I play video games, it's almost just to, like, remember what that was like. um, but also, it's the kind of video games, too. Like, as I've gotten older, I'm more into arcadey type video games. I really don't want to play, like, long-term RPGs or things with story. I used to really be into, like, especially Japanese RPGs. Used to really be into those and sink hours and hours and hours into those games, grinding it out and going on all the little side quests and whatnot. I played not all of, but a bunch of, like, Final Fantasy games up to the ninth. By that I mean I played the ninth and then I was done with Final Fantasy. By the way, Final Fantasy 9, one of my favorites. It's a very good one. So I was kind of done with Final Fantasies after 9. And then I started getting more into the, like, really esoteric, clearly, I mean, this will be no surprise to anybody, but, like, the more esoteric or philosophically inclined games, like Xenogears. But the big one for me was Shimagami Tensei. The Shimagami Tensei games were really cool. And by that I mean I only ever played number 3, Nocturne. And I played a little bit of one on the Super Nintendo, and it was fine, but I was like, oh, this isn't Nocturne. And Nocturne, for those of you who don't know, Shimagami Tensei Nocturne, I don't know how different or similar it is to the other games in that franchise. But Nocturne in particular is basically Pokemon, but with a doctorate. It's like Pokemon with a PhD. And by that I mean, like, all the Pokemon you capture are, like, mythologically accurate demons and angels and gods and folkloric entities. Something that's also really cool about Nocturne is there's like I want to say there's like 7 different endings, maybe more. It's all dependent on, like, choices you make in the game, and the choices are heavily dependent on your own philosophical leanings. So, like, you kind of get to pick like what the new world is going to be like after the world ends. And it's all like each one is sort of based on a different like philosophy. Like, do you prefer do you prefer that things be such that it's like a solipsistic universe? In other words, like everything is an emanation of your own self? Or do you want things to be in sort of a static, still universe where nothing changes and everything is permanent? Do you want to live in a world that's based on might makes right? Stuff like that. It's fun. Do you want to go destroy God with your army of demons? You know, fun. And that really appealed to me at that particular age, which was college. Um, and then I played Digital Devil Saga, which is not. It looks like it should be a Shimagami Tensei game, but it is not. It's sort of like this. It's a weird side story, original story thing. And I really liked that game a lot, and I beat it. And after I beat Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, I had this moment where maybe a moment of clarity, I'm not sure, but I had this moment where I was like, I guess I'm done with Japanese RPGs because this is about as good as it gets. The battle system's really fast. It's fun. And really, with turn-based games, as far as turn-based games go, it's about as fun as you can get with that kind of style of game. The story is about as good as you can get in a JRPG story, at least for my taste. But really, ultimately, I think what I was realizing in the back of my mind is I'm not going to have time to play these kinds of games. So I'm just going to say this is the best one for me. And I'm done. I'm done. I'm never going to touch them ever again. And I really haven't. I just don't have 50 hours to sink into a video game. So anyway, all that is to say, I'm more into like playing nowadays like arcade games. Something where it's like if I play it for 30 minutes and I feel done, I feel like I've had a full experience. So bullet hell shooters are great for that. I really like games produced by this company called Cave. They've got a bunch of them. There's ESB Galuda 2. There's what the heck is it called? I just know it as Bug Princess. I can't remember what the Japanese name for it is. It's like Mushihime something or other. And then my favorite one is Death Smiles, which is unique from those other two games in that Death Smiles is kind of it's a side-scrolling shooter in the vein of something like R-Type. And you play as like these witches who shoot witch magic with their familiars, which is which should be familiar to the topic having to do with this drawing that I'm doing, because this is a familiar that I'm drawing right now. But anyway, yeah, you play as these witches, and they have their familiars, and they shoot bullets, and you dodge the bullets that are shot back at you. And it's got this weird techno dark vibe to it, but it's also cutesy. It's a really weird game. I like it a lot, though. I think as far as bullet hell shooters go, it might be my favorite. But anyway, so that's one kind of game I like to play. Another one that I've been playing a lot recently is Zuma. It's a very old school browser puzzle game. I'll leave it at that. And the one that I picked up recently was Multiverses, which is this Smash Brothers style game. And you can play as a bunch of different characters from... It's so corporate. You can play a bunch of different characters from the Warner Brothers IP database, basically. It's like you can play as Looney Tunes characters, like Bugs Bunny, or you can play I'm about to just mention all my favorite ones. You can play as Shaggy from Scooby Doo. He's actually, I think, the best character in the game. Um, you can play as LeBron James. He's also really fun to play. You can play as Batman, Superman. Who else is in that game? Garnet from Steven Universe. I haven't unlocked her yet. I want to play her though. She looks awesome. The Iron Giant and others. But I've been playing that game, kind of picking it up. I was really big into Smash Brothers when I was younger, so I haven't quit that habit. Anyway, so I do feel like I want to put a little cap though. I haven't quite finished what I had to say in regards to all this. So, like, I've picked up all those shorter term games because it allows me to sort of get that gaming experience that I still want on some level and, you know, get my game time in and then feel done. And it's funny because, like, I feel pretty done after 30 minutes, maybe max an hour, and I don't really want to play games anymore. And then, like, you know, maybe I get back to work. Maybe I draw some more stuff. Maybe I'm productive again. So, anyway, that's just me talking about my creative habits and how I've dealt with procrastination. I feel like I have more things to say on that, but that was the thing that came up while I was working on this picture. Lars looks done. Kind of want to augment this a little bit. I kind of like how, I don't know, I put this spot on Lars because it's like, oh, it's kind of like he's got like a third eye or something. Maybe he's a psychic cat or something. Maybe, I kind of like this idea because like maybe he psychically talks to people or something. Um, like Garfield. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Anyway, y'all, I hope y'all are having a good one. I will talk with y'all again very soon. And until next time, y'all have a good one. All right, bye.